Joined now by Ivo Daalder, president of the Chicago Council on Global Affairs and former U.S. ambassador to NATO. Mr. Ambassador, thanks for being with us.
It's great to be here. Well, you see increasing anxiety in both the United States and in Europe about the conditions, both economic and in some ways demographic, of many people in these countries. There is a fear that growing globalization and particularly technological change is leaving the middle class and the lower class behind economically, that the future economically is worse for the next generation than for this generation, combined with the changing demographic nature of societies in the West. Increasingly, non-white people are becoming part of the fabric of our society, and there's an anxiety, particularly among white Americans, but also in Europe. So they're looking for new solutions, and they're therefore ripe to graft onto political solutions put forward by populists who are campaigning against the elite and the establishment as a way to fundamentally change societies. In some ways, the solutions being offered are simplistic. They won't work. These are not lasting solutions. They're placebos, but they're offered in a way that says it's all the fault of the elites, it's all the fault of the establishment. Elect me or put me in charge and everything will be fine. And that is a kind of demagoguery. Politics needs to address those concerns, and government needs to be more effective in understanding the anxiety that is producing the support for populist movements. That is the challenge. It's a challenge to the elites. It's a challenge to the party establishment that exists. They're not simplistic. These are tough things to do, but they're not impossible to do. We see reports in newspapers of interviews with supporters of, in this case, Donald Trump, and there may be supporters of Hillary Clinton who feel the same way, that the system is rigged and that the outcome of an election should not be accepted and lead to actions that are extra-constitutional or certainly illegal. Populism makes this not about an electoral ballot, but really about the future, fundamentally, of oneself within one's society. Populists win not only by having solutions that people can hang on to, but by demonizing the opposition. That's the danger in the society we're living in today, and it's not just in the United States, it's beyond that. The period after November 8th will determine whether our electoral system and democratic system based on peaceful alternation of power is acceptable. My sense is we still live in a country where that will happen. One hopes that the reality that one believes in will continue, and probably will only find out that it isn't after it's too late.
We have another guest by way of Sarajevo, Aleksandr Hemon.
There was a rise of populism in former Yugoslavia before the war. The difference was, and it's an important difference, that the populist leaders, particularly Slobodan Milosevic, had access to state infrastructure, to the police and the army and the secret police and the parliament and so on. And with those infrastructural elements, he waged the war. I do not expect a civil war here. I do expect a damaging period, an increased social disorder, a fraying of social fabric, fraying of common reality. We're already seeing this, that people who hate Hillary Clinton, whatever new fact about her comes up, it's absorbed into this narrative. So there's no undoing of that narrative. And similarly, on the side of Clinton supporters or anti-Trump, there's nothing that Trump can do right now that would change him from what we already know or believe he is. That in itself is something that will have to be repaired. The sense that we all live in the same country has been severely damaged. That makes any kind of negotiation or compromise making increasingly difficult. But the alternative to that, if some solution needs to be found, is conflict. And we're moving in the direction of conflict. I also worry about this natural human belief in the inertia of reality, that everything will continue as it is because it can't be any other way. So that what we cannot imagine cannot happen. But it can. It will happen in a way that we cannot imagine right now. And the fact that everyone's claiming, no, it can't happen, is in itself a symptom of the possibility of it happening.
A couple months ago, you decided not to add your name to an open letter that was opposing Donald Trump's candidacy, at least.
If one finds American democracy to be a legitimate operation, then there's nothing we can do about Trump being where he is. He followed all the rules of American electoral procedures, and it's what it is. But if we find, and we could, if we find the objection enabled the American political system that allows for Donald Trump, then we should object to that system. So in other words, the letter should have been not about Trump, but a society that allows Donald Trump to be where he is, and it allows a set of conditions that enable Donald Trump to become so prominent and to have so much power. If American people elect him, then we'll have to contend with it. And there will be other ways to contend with it. I mean, not just signing letters.